Hey everyone, I've decided to not append this part into the last one. The last video was already an hour and 8 minutes or so, and I don't really want to go over that. So welcome to some more to back, Spirit Engine 2. Where we left off, we fought past a live cloud child, the only humans who have done so, and secured our exit from the city of Portal Vale. Let's go ahead and leave, and hopefully we'll find a more welcoming reception outside the city itself. I also believe it's been a few days, not a few hours, which I might have believed originally, just as a heads up. I think probably 2 to 3 days have passed before we, during our time spent in the sea bunker. There must have been enough food and supplies in it to help us live past what just occurred. My God, what has happened to the city? This surely is our country's darkest hour. Your report, Captain. What can you tell us? I don't know if I can find words to do justice to the scale of the disaster, Parliamentarians. We know so little at this stage. 3 days ago, an explosion was reported within the city limits, and a towering pillar of flame rose up through the clouds. Then the temperature began to plummet. Ice arced along the statuary, dark crimson clouds accumulated overhead. Snow began to fall, and the Cloud Children descended from their migration routes to feed. God help us all. The Yagarans have just committed the worst atrocity that Medea has ever seen, and we let them do it. This is the price we pay for losing our grip on the nation's security. Our troop numbers have been depleted, our borders left open, citizens allowed to walk our streets unrestricted and unwatched. If our governors had only given more attention to the loyalty bill. Now is not the time for politics, Henley, especially in the presence of our governors. We don't know that the Yagarans are responsible yet. I'm afraid we do, Camellia. We received intelligence detailing their intentions from across the border only a few days ago. But it was too late to stop the attacks on Portal Vale and Castarin. The current Yagaran regime clearly intends to wage war without bounds. I would advise against inaction, honorable leaders. The people will demand retribution for this atrocity. Indeed, war may already be upon us whether we seek it or not, and our independence is at stake. Who else other than the Yagarans has the alchemical corpse capable of developing such a terrible weapon? They have made many attacks upon our great nation in its history. This can only be the sinister prelude to another. Time is short, and they may already be marching their armies across the border zone. No, we cannot speak like this. We must open dialogue with the Yagarans. It isn't so long since the Malamara peace accords broke down. We still have channels through which to approach them. We must talk, negotiate. This is no time for chatter, woman. This is war, the likes of which Medea has never seen before. The destruction of Portal Vale is a cowardly first strike, and we have been caught off guard because we have grown weak and complacent. If our nation is to survive, we must strike back. We need instruction from the Kari, and we need it now before it is too late. Otherwise, we must organize the defense of the Union ourselves. We are considering our response to the crisis, Parliamentarian. Find peace for now. You will be patient as you wait for our instructions. I will be patient, yes. Forgive me, wise governors. I don't know what came over me. Captain, honorable guests, we have found survivors from the very center of the city, fleeing down Armistice Road. We thought you might wish to speak with them directly. Honored representatives, exalted Ricari, we are at your service. Marikia, Charlotte, you must kneel. These people are the highest authority in all Loreftian. Even the Ricari have made an appearance. You must show them your respect. I kneel only before the Lord God. No mortal force upon Medea may claim dominion over me. You would do well to service your religion as well as you claim, Marikius Johann Weiss. Your absence from Tawny Edge has been noted. What? No, I have merely been delayed. How could you possibly know about that? These things are transparent to us, as is your destination. We know through you and your independence will serve the greater peace. Stand and address the Parliamentarians. What word do you bring them from inside the city? The only news we have is bad. Portal Vale lies in ruins, and the only other people we encountered on its streets seem to have been transformed into shambling monsters. We were able to fight our way out, but not without great difficulty. The city is overrun with horrors, and the cloud children there appear to be spawning. It is as we feared then. The city is lost. Flatten it with artillery, and drive the cloud children away. Wait! We survived for days by sheltering in a bunker. There may be more like us still hiding in the ruins. If you shell the city, you'll kill them. Regrettable. But more of them will die if we allow the cloud children to gain a foothold on our warm ground. These creatures are dangerous. We should have warred against them from the beginning instead of tolerating their presence. Representatives, excuse us. We are receiving reports of massive Yagaran troop deployments along the border zone. This should not be. Responses must be considered. We leave you to mitigate. Parliamentarians, you should return to survey what remains of Kelstarin in our absence. Trust in our wisdom. This is absurd! We can't afford to waste any more time watching this disaster unfold. Precious hours are being lost whilst we wait for the Lotaeri to perform their shadowy consultations. Do not worry, parliamentarians. As per emergency doctrine, all the forces our great army can muster are already being assembled in the west to counter the threat from Yagara. God willing, their bravery will secure them victory. The courage of our soldiers is beyond doubt, Captain, but I fear they're being pushed out into the unknown, as are we all. The Yagarans have the initiative now, and we are at their mercy. Someone must raise the possibility of a settlement. If things go badly in the coming weeks, what overtures will we make to them? What price are we willing to pay to secure peace? Capitulation? Never! By God, man, if you so much as mention the notion before me again, I will wring your neck myself. The referees will never surrender to foreign aggression. Solemn greetings, fellow parliamentarians. I must apologize profusely for my lateness. My carriage was held up by the sheer number of refugees on the road to Tolksworth. What discussion have I missed? Precious little. Our governors came and watched and left. Their only action was to order the destruction of one of our great cities, and now they leave to consider. I'm sorry to hear that. Their flight is hardly surprising. When have they ever shown compassion towards our people? I would not expect them to start now. We're like cattle to them. I'll tell you why they left, parliamentarians. They are afraid. They're finally losing their iron grip on the people and their command of the situation. They have no response to give. Your blatant disrespect for our governor shames us all, Baptiste. Now more than ever, we need to wait calmly for their guidance. You should keep your ridiculous conspiracy theories to yourself and your friends. Poor Camellia. They play you like a fiddle. They play us all. If you spent as much time away from Parliament as I do and allowed your own thoughts to flourish, you would see just how helpless we are. What do you care for Loreftian's future, Baptiste? I'm surprised you even left Armara to come and see the devastation for yourself. This conflict is unlikely to ever reach your corner of the Union. Suffering and injustice concerns us all. I am not my father, Price. I spend so much time absent from the Parliament of Stars because I know that whether I attend or not, my voice counts for nothing so long as the current state is upheld. But this is our chance as a Parliament to make our own decisions for our people. Indeed, if we do not, we may not exist as a Parliament for much longer by the time the Yagarans are through with us. Baptiste may be right. We cannot afford to wait for their response. The Lotaeri watch over us from a lofty height, and they have guided us with wise hands for so long. But I fear that at such a distance, this crisis is moving too fast for them to handle. It is humans who are suffering down here. We must act to protect our people. This is the new face of war, parliamentarians. And I fear that we have not yet seen the worst of it. We must do whatever is necessary to ensure that the Union survives the coming trials. What do we do now? The parliamentarians seem to have made up their minds. We head south, like Jacques said, and make our way to the Institute for Higher Learning. Let us pray he's telling the truth this time. I still don't know how the three of you managed to get out of the city center alive so long after the attack. The only other survivors are those who fled the suburbs quickly. I was among them. We were stacking crates in the dockside bunker when the attack came. We sheltered there for several days before attempting our escape. There was nothing extraordinary about it. Really? You don't look much like laborers. And you'd certainly need to be skilled to fight your way out of that hell. Yes, you were most fortunate indeed. You would have perished along with a third of the city's population if you hadn't been sheltering when the Yagarans struck. Please forgive my suspicion. At the moment, there is little more for us to do except point fingers. This will go down in Lotaeri's history as our most dreadful day, if we even have a history a year from now. The Ricari have been our sage governors for as long as anybody can remember, but even they seem perturbed by the sudden scale of these events. I've never seen that before. Not even during the Amaran uprising. I don't know what it means. But I fear the worst for us all. The Parliament of Stars in Kelstarin is likely destroyed, and many parliamentarians will have lost friends and family there, if not their own lives. The coming emergency meeting of Parliament will not be a happy one. Sir, your coach awaits. The driver is anxious to leave as the guns are upsetting the steeds. With the roads as they are, we'll need to leave early to reach Kelstarin in good time. Yes, I am done here. I must put distance between myself and this awful place. Farewell, citizens. I hope your good fortune holds. You will need all the luck that Arya can grant us. Wow. Oh, just imagine it. It's all politics, right? Oh, imagine the outrage. Oh my goodness, this is going to be terrible. They're going to go to war. You can see that they're beginning to shell the city. Brought the long nines with them. I heard your plea for sanity at the meeting, Parliamentarian Camellia. It was admirable. Admirable, but useless. What good can I do? I'm surrounded by a pack of angry, foolish men, far too eager to wage war. I doubt that any of them would be quite so bloodthirsty if their own families were being marched off to the borders to fight. I fear the depth of this disaster is greater than any of us realize. An attack of this nature is unprecedented. Whoever is behind it may not stop at just 2 cities. I cannot believe the Yagaran government would use such a weapon, but I am alone. Even the normally serene and wise Ricari may abandon dialogue in favor of the rash and vengeful response, which the people will demand. Whoever destroyed Porto Vale doesn't look like they want to talk. Sometimes you have no choice but to fight. If the whole nation was run by well-meaning pacifists like yourself, we'd all be speaking Yagaran instead. No, I won't believe it. We were making progress at Malamara. Even the Yagarans are not capable of this degree of inhumanity. Some evil is at work here, turning man against man, and bringing out the worst in us all. And we are trapped between them. What can we do? What words could we find powerful enough to soothe this rage? I fear a vocabulary is better suited for wounding than embracing. Oh, enough of this. I cannot stand to see them shell my beautiful city. It breaks my heart. Please excuse me. I have to leave. I wish you good fortune wherever the fates take you next. Parliamentarian Camellia has been a long-standing advocate of peace between Lereftian and Yagara. It is no surprise given her mixed parentage across the border. I doubt her voice will be heard too loudly in the days to come. Her credibility never recovered from the accusations that she was in covert contact with the Yagaran Secret Services during her first period in office. Oh, wow. Then whatever pull she has will just be discarded. If the Parliament of Stars had only listened to me, this disaster would never have come to pass. We'd have struck at Yagara years ago, before they ever developed such a terrible capability. There can be no order without the security of military strength, and the Lereftians has been allowed to rot over time in the name of peace and prosperity. It looks pretty peaceful and prosperous now, doesn't it? Heaven knows, with the army at its current state, we barely have the numbers to hold down provinces like Amara, let alone secure our own borders. Those violent separatists have never given the Union anything other than trouble. If you ask me, they weren't dealt with harshly enough in the 726 uprising. We should have put down a few score more, and then maybe now we wouldn't have had to worry about moving our troops out of the area for fear of another rebellion. Ah, enough of my moaning. This isn't the time for me to crow about my grim foresight. We need unity and a sense of purpose now if we're to save our country from this crisis. Please, leave me to think. Okay, I'm going to quickly stop here because I need to check the recording. It's really loud in this section with the music, and I want to make sure my voice is coming out okay. If I recall, my greatest disappointment of the last playlist was this segment, so I will be back in a few seconds. Or you'll never see this part because I had to redo it. Okay, everyone. It sounds like things are coming out perfectly. I'm actually really surprised. Let's get talking to Dishonest Pete. Alright, governors. When I saw such a handsome band of adventurers marching up Armistice Road, I just knew you'd be stopping by Pete's. It takes a certain class of customer to appreciate my merchandise. Now, if I know you, you're thinking, hang on, what is this charming fellow trying to sell us? Instead, ask yourselves a quicker question. What is this charming fellow not trying to sell us? You see something you like around here? Pete can have it for you so long as the initial investment compensates for the willingness of the owner. The world is my stall. These goods wouldn't be stolen, would they? Goodness me, Governor. Stolen? Whatever gave you that idea? Well, the sign does say Dishonest Pete. There's only one kind of customer that's going to attract. Exactly. And here you are. Now, governors, can we stop quibbling about matters of legality and talk money? Wait a minute, is that my prayer book over there? Ah, so it is. Sorry, it's a bad habit I've got there. I took the liberty of freeing it from your back pocket while you were talking with the important gentleman. Here, I can have it back as a gesture of goodwill. Shame on you, Pete. If you do not mend your ways now, the good Lord will take payment for each and every item here when you reach the gates of heaven. You two check your belongings. You look awfully familiar, Dishonest Pete. Have I seen you somewhere before? You might have. There's a little Pete in every shady alleyway, and every rotten dive you might come across. Dishonest Pete knows no boundaries. He travels wherever demand is high and supply is low. A global prince of commerce is what I am. Alright, we get the idea. Just show us what you've got and keep your hands where I can see them. Okay, so the first thing we need to do here is vendor whatever is the most money. We'll get rid of these two things. Next, what is this Honest Pete selling? A bonus to all concussive damage and a bonus to explosive shell. Wow, explosive shell. Explosive? But I like Charlotte's Powder Imps, her smoke-plated belt better. Powder Imps, I really like that. Plus 6 of smoke screen is also helpful. So no, I don't need this. Nope, we have some decent rings. Oh, actually, I wouldn't mind having that ring. Although it is a lot more expensive than I think it used to be. Because I think something very similar to this was for sale earlier for like 300 something. Oh god, that's one. Wow. Okay. Those are nice numbers on the shield. 2020, like minus 20s and minus 3%. That's great. But I don't like that piercing bonus penalty of minus 25. I do not like that. No, sir. But if we use Sword Faith a lot, it won't matter very much, I suppose. Oh, wow. These are some fantastic suits of armor. Diamond plate looks great. That's a plated vest. And diamond plate itself. 52, 25, 85. My goodness. That just immediately blows away Paladin's Heart for defensive power. Oh, I just realized Paladin's Heart is also offering even more in Hack Slay and what have you. 70, 70, 55. What does this do? 70, 70, 50. Is it 55? 55 versus 52, 125. No, I'm going to keep his current armor. Up ahead, well, not in this zone, but in the next zone we're about to reach, there will be another shop. I will hope there's a better breastplate there instead. I might, however, buy that Fortress Shield. Oh, Gorlamain, look at this. Party heal, 11 damage, plus 12 to hack, plus 24 slay, plus 18 Thunderstrike. I think I'm going to be picking this up. Those bonuses will actually make the base damage a little better for all the abilities Denver uses. Thank you, Paladin's Heart, for getting us this far, but we will now take Gorlamain. You sell the old Imp's Belt, and you can get Gorlamain, Denver. And with this sword equipped, we probably don't need this party heal anymore. We can equip the bramble chain on you for a free trick. A base 13 damage military rifle. That would be a significant amount of extra damage rather than the fortunate musket. I run the risk of there being a better weapon up ahead, though, if I buy this one. Do I want to do that, Tim? I think we will purchase this military rifle. And we will vendor... No, don't vendor that one. We just bought that one. 82, 65... The Paladin's Heart. Okay, and the Fortress Shield I'm not going to buy. I'm just going to wait. Or maybe I should buy it. That way if we don't have a better suit of armor. But I won't. Then I won't buy a suit of armor. You know, we did pick up a bunch of Hack, Slay, and Thunderstrike. That is minus piercing bonus, though. We will lose more damage with Denver. But we will pick up a huge amount of defense. Actually, is there a shop up ahead, Tim? There might not be. Now I think about it, I'm getting confused as to where I'm going to be going next. Let's take the Fortress Shield. Let's take it. And then we vendor the most expensive thing. That would be the old Assault Shield. And we are good. Oh, here's Batiste. We talked to him? Awesome. Ah, the 3 survivors from the center of town. You're very lucky to be alive. You must have an outstanding story to tell. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Parliamentarian Batiste, representative of the Northeastern Amara. Oh, for Northeastern Amara. You must be the man offering the reward for the apprehension of the Keepers. It's nice to meet you. Yes, that I am. I have been trying, along with a number of other representatives, to pass legislation through Parliament to outlaw their sinister cult before this latest series of outrages. They have been involved in attacks on a great number of my constituents. Alas, I have had little success in gaining any meaningful support for action against them from my fellow parliamentarians. Their minds are clouded at the best of times. The otherworldly things that whisper in their ears care little for the dignity of men. I dare not speak their name here, but I think you know of whom I speak. Ultimately, I have little power inside Parliament, especially given the legacy of my father. There is little that I have been able to do to fight this insidious conspiracy. Wait, you must be the 3 who stepped in to save the girl in Blue Feather Forest. Huh, what are the odds? So small that this cannot be anything other than fate guiding us into happy union. I believe you met one of my assistants, Shala. She's been in close pursuit of one of the Keeper cells for many months now. The lady in the white armor. Yes, we helped her save Isabel. She looks a lot like her sister, doesn't she? It seems blessings come in 3s. Shala is a little abrupt, as you might have noticed, but do please excuse her. Her heart is in the right place, and her dedication is unquestionable. My prince, you must come. There's a report of a contact heading north from Tokesworth, and Julius says that we must move quickly. Of course, I must return to my constituents. My place is home in Amara, where I can inform and comfort them. Though I doubt we'll see each other again, it was a pleasure to meet you all. My thanks to you. I've heard of Parliamentary Batiste before. He was heir to the princeship of Amara before it was resubjugated after the rebellion of 726. He was only 11 when his father was killed, and he watched his home and his people, his inheritance, burn around him. Parliament installed him as one of the state's only 6 representatives to try and appease the Amarans. It is perhaps the poorest part of Loreftian, and the responsibility on him must be difficult at such an age. The poor boy. He must have a lot to deal with right now. Chapter 6. On top of the world. Oh no. Okay, everyone. This scene coming up always hits me right in the feels. Every single time I've done this part. So there's probably going to be a lot of pausing here, and I am very sorry in advance. Just be ready for it, and if I can't keep the feels out of my voice, I'm also sorry. All right, here we go. Every morning, this gets a little harder. How much longer can I keep living like this? My body has been kinder to me than I deserve, but it can only serve for so long. These bothersome feet kept me up for half the night with their aching and throbbing. They've been this way for 2 months now and show no sign of improvement. Never mind. I suppose I must add them to an ever-growing list of ailments to endure. Oh, listen to yourself, you old fool. There are so many your age who would envy this health. So many friends that never made it this far. Arthur Garhen, Ethan Tranmere, Jacob Hargreaves, and now, perhaps, dear old Percy. I can see them standing at the Chancellor's coronation as if it were only yesterday. A resplendent wall of armor glittering in the sun, effortlessly carrying the hopes of a nation on our shoulders. We were all so young and so full of hope back then. There were blue blossoms in the wind and a young girl in the crowd, surprised everyone. Oh, surprised Hargreaves with the wreath of flowers and the kiss. But I can't for the life of me recall what day of the week it was, or who gave the main speech. It's funny what you remember and what you forget. Speaking of forgetting, good grief, is that the time? I was meant to meet the others for breakfast half an hour ago. I must get downstairs. Morning already. For a moment I fully forgot where I was. I would have liked to forget a while longer. I had an awful restless dream last night, but it wasn't half as peculiar as the reality that preceded it. Did I just wake up or just fall asleep? Why am I here? I'm no hero. I'm just in the wrong place at the right time. The little girl inside me wants to crawl back into bed and close her eyes until this all goes away. But if I've learned anything from this wasted youth of mine, it is that you can't rely on other people to fix the problems you choose to run from. So I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing. Such seems to be the story of my life. Nothing that I've done so far has gone according to plan. I might as well keep on improvising. Dear Lord, it has been over a day now since I've spoken with you at length. I apologize for my lateness, but as you know, I've been otherwise occupied by increasingly extraordinary events. Extraordinary events, in fact. I am out of my depth in an unfamiliar but gentle company. Please bless Charlotte and Denver and grant us safe passage on our journey. Charlotte may not share my faith or my morals, but when these trials found us, she did not hesitate to stand and meet them. That is more than I could say for myself. Please forgive me for the frailties that I suffer. Though my heart and soul are dedicated to your service, I am only human, and it is through my struggle against my failings that I define myself. There were moments this past week when my faith has faltered. We need your love now more than ever, but I am seeing so little, and it is difficult. But I believe in reason and in cause, and without your love, there could be none. I will hold true to what I know in my heart to be right, because without that, I am nothing. I must confess that I have said harsh words to my companions. I try not to mean them, but you know my temper is poor. I shall try to think before I speak. I can't promise anything. I also have this dull ache in my shoulder, which is becoming quite troublesome. If you could please give it some minor attention, I would be most grateful. Eternal peace. Good morning, Denver. Sorry I'm late. I had trouble getting out of bed. It's all right. I woke late myself. No harm has been done. I think we all needed the rest. And that fantastic meal last night, too. This place does the best home roast that I've ever tasted. Where's Mauritius? Don't worry, I'm up. I can't say I'm awake yet. What are we doing here again? The plan is to scale the mountain before nightfall. It won't be easy, but we can manage it. The Institute is located near the summit. Heaven knows why they chose such a remote location, but that's where we're headed. I saw the mountain from my window, Denver. It looks very tall and very cold, even at this distance. Are you sure we can scale it in one day? No, Mauritius, I'm not. But we can't afford to spend the night on the slopes. I fear that it will be too cold and too perilous without the sun above us, so we're climbing that mountain by nightfall or not at all. Have you two noticed how quiet it is around here? The people seem so nervous. They look away quickly when you meet their gaze. I haven't asked, but I'm sure something must be wrong. I've noticed it too, Charlotte. I wouldn't say it was an unwelcome feeling, but I certainly think they'd rather we weren't here. They almost act as if they're guilty of something. Well, it's not our problem, whatever it is. We're just passing through, and the sooner the better. Indeed. Grab some food and let's get going. We have a long day ahead of us. Well, the first things first, we're going to check this side, and we can't do anything that way. The Last Tulip Guest House. Bread and breakfast, 12 credits, something. Meredith says he came crashing in through the upstairs window in a cloud of splintered wood, cloak billowing, fangs gleaming in the moonlight and hissing like a snake. Tarlet leapt from the bed and rushed him with his sword, but the beast battered him aside as though he were a straw scarecrow. Poor Tarlet cracked 3 ribs on his own fireplace and was left a crumpled heap as the monster loomed over Meredith. It was only when the town woke and the fiend saw the tide of torches approaching that it turned and sailed away into the night sky. Perhaps the flame brings back bad memories for the beast. Lord preserve us! Who will the Count's vengeance claim next? Perhaps we deserve to be stalked by this horror. What fools were we to think that we could take the torch to him and his family and escape unpunished? Goodness, that's an impressive-looking break. Must have taken a lot of force to do that. What's going on here? It's nothing of consequence, strangers. Trouble with the chill splinters. At the break of autumn, they often wander down from the main to cause trouble. I see. They're quite the little vandals, aren't they? I didn't realize they could climb so high. No wonder you're worried. They're nothing we can't handle. You 3 came in on the Vale Road, didn't you? You must tell us what's happening up there. We have heard nothing for days. Even the newsprints are late. No one pays us mountain folk any attention until they need something from us. It's a tax office in spring, and mark my words, if the situation's as bad as Jeb says he's heard, there'll be a draftsman from the army round soon enough. My husband was trading in Glendenoth last week, and he should have been back home by now. Please, tell us what you've heard. I'm sorry, we don't know much more than you folk. The situation appears bleak, but Glendenoth is in no immediate danger. The roads are very busy, though, so your husband is bound to be delayed. In such a time, it's mighty strange to see folks as heavily armed as yourselves sheltering in our humble little village, when so much would be happening out to the west. Just what are you doing here? We're looking to scale the mountain and visit the Institute. You good people wouldn't be able to advise us on the best route up, would you? The mountain? No, I'll be no assistant to suicide. It's not advisable to go anywhere near Shattermain at this time of year. The Iceni are collecting food for the winter, and their tastes are none too fussy. So unless you want to end up as a rack of meat in their icy larders, you're best turning back now. Or worse if you run into the Count. Watch your tongue, Gemina. There's nothing to fear out on the slopes beside the Iceni and the Chill Splinters, as you well know. Yes, there's a good reason the Institute was built at Shattermain's Peak. They have Ricari roosting up there to keep them safe, but anything else moving on those slopes is taking a terrible risk. Some folks say that the Institute is sited there to keep interlopers out, but I expect it's in order to keep those oddballs in. It's an asylum of sorts, whose inmates will not get far fleeing across the main. Those people have some mighty strange ideas. It's best for us that they're all kept out of society. Thank you for the warning. We'll just have to make do as best we can, because we intend to scale the mountain anyway. Very well. We can't stop you. But don't say that you weren't warned. The main is a cold and deadly splinter of rock. You'll not be the first or the last victim she's claimed. I love the background to this area. Hey, you there! You're the three looking to climb Shattermane, yes? That's right, why do you ask? Because your climb will eventually see you crossing paths with the Count, one way or another. The slopes are his now, and he won't take kindly to trespassers. And because you look capable of doing what needs to be done, we, the town, have a favor to ask of you. None of the others will dare talk about it to outsiders. They're too frightened of the Count, of each other, and what they've done. I don't believe in murder. That's why I had no part in this originally, and why I feel free to speak to you here. But what's needed now isn't murder, but mercy. Mercy? What's happened? What are you talking about? Can you see that ruined, blackened manor up on the mountainside? That's Castle Kristoff, home of the Kristoff family for 12 generations. They used to own the land about here until 5 years ago. You see, Count Kristoff was a harsh man. He gave little love and received little in return. In the winter of 728, word reached us that he was planning to sell the land upon which the town was built and strip the valley for mining. The original lease was made to a distant ancestor of Kristoff, a kinder man who wouldn't have dreamed of selling the earth out from beneath the feet of his tenants and leaving thousands homeless. There was panic in the town, anger and despair, and from it something dark was born. Something that now haunts more than just our dreams. One bitterly cold and windy winter night, as the Kristoff clan assembled for their annual dinner in the castle, a mob of townspeople marched through the snowdrifts up the mountainside and to surround it. They brought torches and kindling wood. They barricaded the mighty oak doors shut, piled wood around the windows, and set light to it. Within minutes, the flames had spread to the roof and the castle went up like a glorious bonfire. You could hear the screams of the Kristoffs from down here in the town. 4 generations of the family perished in that fearsome inferno, leaving naught but ashes and brick. Lady Kristoff was the last to die, so rumor said. She leapt, screaming from an upper floor window, and ran away into the night, a flailing, blazing human torch. They never did find her body. Doubtless she came across the ravine, and God willing, the fall finally killed her. Oh God, that's horrible. The entire family. How could anyone do such a dreadful thing? I make no judgment either way, young lady. When the authorities came around to sift through the wreckage and ask questions, I stayed quiet, for the good of my neighbors. Everyone did. And with no proof of any wrongdoing, and the Kristoff line dead, ownership of the land reverted back to the government. That one wicked act bought the townspeople and their children 5 more good years in this place. Until now. Superstitious fools used to say they heard Lady Kristoff wailing on the high winds late at night. Now something more tangible and dangerous stalks our village. Her husband has returned. The Count sweeps down from the mountain at night to attack the town. He's killed 8 so far, maimed 20, and injured or scared witless many more. We cannot look to any official authority for help. I suspect that the beast sleeps during the day in the ruins of his former home, but none of the townsfolk have the courage to go near that place again. If you could surprise and slay the beast, you would be doing us a great service. You're asking us to risk our lives to cover this town's crime. For what these people have done, perhaps they deserve such a fate. Aye, it was a wicked act, but force any man to a corner as the Count did, and he is capable of terrible things. If you think not of them, then please, think instead of the children who do not deserve to suffer for the sins of their parents. Either way, you may have little choice if you want to reach the Institute. The Kristoffs used to hold the master turnkey to the bridges they built on the southern slopes. Early one morning this summer, the town awoke to find them raised and locked. You can guess who is holding it now. This is repugnant. You people should be far more worried about the judgment you'll receive for this wicked crime in the next life than the immediate trouble of fending off a 5-year-old corpse in this one. The Count is far from a corpse, father. He waits between the grave and the land of the living, no longer human. He has become a monster, the likes of which I fear even you 3 may not be able to handle. We shall see about that if and when we encounter him. We appreciate the warning. We shall consider your proposition, sir. That is all I ask. Thank you kindly. I love how this game poses such interesting questions, such as what people will do in dire situations. And I like how it doesn't paint anyone necessarily as, at least at the moment, wholly evil or good. Even in the last area we were in, seeing all the different governors and senators or what have you talk about how they're going to handle the situation, you could see politics in play there, and how they maybe might have cared or might have just been playing politics. I love this aspect of the game. I find a lot of these things hold true today as well. If you'll give me the favor of a moment's attention, we have a wide range of adventurous equipment for sale, from swords to blessed rings. Please, there's not many strangers who'll stay in Little Hampton, so your service would do me much good. Okay, well, we don't need one item. What are we vendoring? Oh my god, that is awesome. I like the sharpshooter's jacket, and I think we're going to take it. I'm buying it. I'm not gonna consider anything else. It's an upgrade for defense in every way imaginable, and it also offers damage bonuses. Now we just need to sell something. Oh, this is my... I didn't realize this was minor party heal. This one said major party heal. How about that? Alright, well, we need to vendor the most expensive thing we've got. Base damage 14, base damage 10. I think I'm going to stick with Mauritius's current weapon, because I believe there's something up ahead that we're about to encounter, and it will give us a chance to get a better stave, I think. Although it will be difficult to get it. I don't want to spend too much money here, Tim. Getting some dodge on Mauritius could prove useful, but I don't think I want either of these offhands. What are we currently using with Mauritius? Recharge chi plus a little bit of chi. It's so expensive. We should also vendor something, so... Come waters, there you go. I apologize, everyone. My speech is really off at the moment. Oh, no. I'm not going to buy either of these staves. They're good. They're better than what he's currently using, but the 14 damage one would be great. With this one, that's not one for Mauritius. Plus 60 trick, that's better for a frontline priest, which would be one of the other priests we could have gotten. So the only question is, do I want the steel ring for 500? That won't leave us with very much money. I'm thinking we could probably use that, though, and get rid of something else. Okay, let's buy it. And we should probably give that to Denver, who's going to be taking a lot of hits. Oh, do I do this? Do I do that? Oh, okay. We could instead give it to Charlotte or Mauritius. We'll give it to Mauritius at the moment. Charlotte has her dodge to help try to keep her up. And while I really do like the Lucky Leaf ring, I don't want to spend 650. So we are done. Yeah, let's play only a little bit longer for this part. Mauritius Johann Weiss, we have been dispatched by urgent order from the Sacred Office to bring you home. Please, let's not make this any more difficult than it needs to be. What is this? I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about, brothers. This must surely be some sort of mistake. I wasn't expecting any kind of inquisition. Please, Mauritius, do not insult us by playing us for fools. You know full well why we're here, as do the people of Tawny Edge. They have been without a pastor for almost a month now. A month? You told us you were only a few days late, Mauricius. Goodness, has it really been that long? I might have lost track of the time a little. More likely you stopped counting, brother. We have been following your erratic trail for some time now. Until recently, those were the movements of a man evading his responsibilities. Are you afraid of something, brother? Afraid? No, but I knew that I had passed a point of no return, that I could not come back. It's alright, brother. It's never too late to receive the loving embrace of the Inquisition. You were unable to help yourself then, but we are here now to assist. Everything is going to be alright. You are not alone anymore. The Inquisition will attend to your failings. My failings? The only failure here was my assignment as a pastor to that backwaters dust bowl. I took one look of it, turned back around and walked away. I'm no preacher. Try as I might, I can never be a man of the people. It cannot be God's will that my place be out there. I should have been left with my books. You admit that you have been questioning the wisdom of the sacred office, Mauricius. They who are ordained by the Lord God himself and who serve with his blessing. To accuse them is to accuse him. No, it isn't. Those who staff the sacred office are as human and fallible as you or I, just as the good book says all men are. I have every right to question them. I am late in my years, having given the best of them in service to the church and the God that I love. The library was my life. I was happy there at Preston amongst the books and the scrolls. They only moved me to spite me. Without those, I do not know what my purpose in life is. But I know that it isn't to preach. I am not a people person. Truth be told, I don't even like most people. I have found relief from my uncertainty out here with my staff in my hand, fighting against adversity. I realize now that I can make a difference. This may be my calling. I must follow it. We do not have the luxury of choosing our calling, Mauricius. It chooses us. The pursuit of personal happiness is secondary to your duty to God and to the poor souls we are here to save. You took the same vows as us, and you know that. Life is a struggle to better ourselves against hardship, and you clearly have much room to improve. Your errant behavior indicates a loss of faith. Would that be a correct assumption? I have become aware of some uncertainties. I have begun to consider some unanswered questions. I saw firsthand the devastation of Portal Vale, and I have had difficulty reconciling the image of a callous God that it presents me with the loving God I knew until now. Do not worry, brother. We in the Inquisition are trained to deal with these problems. Do not be too hard on yourself. A new great war is coming, and its horrors will test the faith of a great many of God's people. We have an opportunity to consolidate the importance of the Church amongst Lotaeri's people, to bring so many that have forgotten God back to knowing Him. It may be the only way to save our nation from the barbarity that falls now upon it. But we also stand to lose a great deal, and we cannot afford the signs of weakness, indecision, or heresy. How can we expect the people to embrace God's love when we do not fully know it ourselves? Do you see what I mean, brother? I do, yes. I have strayed, I am no longer fit to serve our dear church in my current state. Good. Admission is the first step toward repentance and correction. We need you to come with us, Mauricius. A man of the cloth in your condition cannot be seen on the streets. We will take you home. No, I cannot go with you, not now. I beg your pardon, brother. He said he's not going. If I'm familiar with the law, and in this particular case I just happen to be, for personal reasons, unless you two are members of the Inspectorate or acting on a parliamentary decree, Mauricius doesn't have to go anywhere with you. What's wrong, Mauricius? Does this poorly dressed woman speak for you now? Yes, she does. I cannot go with you. I told you I had found my calling and I meant it. I have more important business to take care of here in the mountains. More important than God's will, brother. Because that is what you are defying with this dangerously heretical behavior. Think carefully now. How dare you claim to know God's will? You don't understand it any more than I do. All that you're following here is a self-perpetuating bureaucracy, and I have no reason to surrender myself to you. I cannot blame you. I have fallen folly to the same delusions of self-importance myself. I have work to do here, work that God himself and whatever wisdom he has decided to leave to us. I cannot ignore it. If you are here for my priesthood, then you can take it, but you cannot take me. I have a mission now, as do my colleagues. You can let us pass, or you shall be moved by us. Are you really threatening an inquisitor? That is grounds for incarceration in itself. The rot has set deeper than we had imagined. Indeed, brother, it pains the soul to see how easily our weak-minded fellows are led astray. To find the Inquisition in broad daylight cannot be allowed to pass. Stand aside, please, all of you. Mauricius cannot escape the responsibilities that his robe carries so easily. In spite of his lapses, he remains a priest, and we are his family. We must take him into custody for his own well-being. Come now, there's no need for this. We understand your concerns and we want to resolve this matter peacefully, but we're quite prepared to defend ourselves. The lives of a great many people may be at stake here. What are lives if not lived morally? We are well trained in combat. Grim will be the judgment that you receive from the Lord for striking his servants in the midst of their most important business. I am prepared to meet it when it comes. We cannot both be in God's grace, so let's put our favor to the test. Okay. Inquisitor Thanes, Inquisitor Serenoth. They have good amounts of magical resistance, and he is a tank. Even though there's two of them, this will be difficult to do. They are very strong priests. And I must say, I find that an awesome battle. I don't remember what they do too much. I know that they're combined with both melee and magic attacks. But the guy in the back, I think, is melee and wrath. The guy in the front will strike us with our staff and also do dams, I think. Let's do this as best we can. I'm not speaking to everyone, this is pretty epic for me. I should not be using magic attacks. Actually, this would be pretty easy if all we have to do is this. Oh, did he self-heal? It won't matter. We're going to chew through his armor. Oh god, actually, you're almost dead. Oh, that's painful. Why don't we send you to the front? Put one of these up. Heal. Mauricius, let's spray summon. Good dodge, Charlotte. Fortify. Actually, Mauricius, you can stay in the front. Okay, move back to the front. Nice trick what happened there as well. Let's try it. Oh god, Mauricius, that was a big hit you just took. I forgot. Mauricius should be there for the magic damage. So they're both healing a little bit. Oh, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that so quickly. Oh, that trick really hurt you, sir. We got this. We got this. Charge! Oh god, what have I done? Don't you worry. These two aren't debtors. There's breath in them yet. We can find some space to put them up to recover and pay for it with the coin in their pockets. We're a town that's good at keeping quiet. There'll be no word from here until these two are fit to walk in a few days' time. You have that much assurance from us. Thank you kindly, sir. I don't know where a few days' time will find us, but given our travels in the past week, I expect it will be far from here. Try to cheer up, Mauricius. You look almost as white as the snow. We did what we had to. There's some things that can't be left to God. If we fail to stop the war, I expect there won't be much of a church left to pursue you anyway. Yes, Charlotte. Fantastic. Now I lose no matter what happens. I can never go back. Lord, forgive me. I'm trying to find the path, but the way is so unclear. I can only follow my heart now. We gained a level, and we gained a ruby ring of health, rather than just a red ring. This is significantly better, obviously, and since Charlotte is currently wearing a ring, she will replace hers. Gar's Foul Tongue. This is a special scripture for Mauritius. It has an amazing amount of stats. Piercing, concussive, ethereal, sprite summon, damn, and wrath. However, Gar's Foul Tongue has poison. Poison will affect everything on the screen, including us. We're going to equip it, but I need to remember I have it on me, because at one point I need to remember to take it off. Some enemies will be immune to poison, in which case having it on is not going to help us whatsoever. You can't be equipped though in combat, so I'll need to make up my mind if I see something peeking out that we're going to walk into, whether or not I want this on. We also did level up. I would like to put that in something before I forget. We will take another point into fortitude on all of us. Strength through faith. A weapon for Mauritius. 8 base damage, but it has minus 3% magical and ethereal. Gives some chi, heal, blessing, and aura. If we're supposed to be a defensive priest, this is a great staff. This would make up for it as well by giving Dam and Wrath extra kick for losing 1 point here with 1,000 petals. We will actually equip this at the moment, but we might have another staff here. Bittersweet. So this is more damage at the cost of life. This is actually really difficult because all 3 of these I consider them to be of equal worth. I'm not sure what I want. On one hand, these two combined allow us to be both offensive and defensive with Mauritius. This, we're obviously going to be more interested in attacking. Why don't we leave this here at the moment? And everyone, I'm going to stop here. When we come back, we'll proceed up the mountain. I'll see you then. Take care, and thanks for watching.